Hello, video maniacs of all shapes, sizes, and colors. This is Practice Dummy. In this video, I'm going to show you on how to install an ambitious project that came to fruition called Daggerfall Unity. Basically, it's a recreation of the original Elder Scrolls game Daggerfall, which is the second in the Elder Scrolls series that came out in the 90s. And a whole team of programmers, modders, and whatnot got together and created, using the Unity engine, or recreated, the Daggerfall game. And it took them a while to do this, but it came out pretty well. Now, after the creation of Daggerfall Unity, there was kind of a modding scene that went on for it too, and it got included on the Nexus site. Now, the first thing I need to tell you up front with Daggerfall Unity as is, not including the mods to, help accent the game and make it look even better as far as that goes. I'm going to give you the system minimum and maximum requirements, but you have to go probably a bit higher due to some of the mods enhancing features, graphics, and whatnot to the game itself. Now, Daggerfall itself, after it came out, it had the largest game world in video game history at the time until it got replaced by Minecraft. So it'll tell you on the whole scope of the project here of how huge, Daggerfall is. But with Daggerfall, you got a whole lot going on, where with Minecraft, it is almost exclusively procedurally generated, so you could say that Daggerfall is more of a handcrafted experience. It is an action RPG game in the line of Skyrim, Oblivion, and all the rest of the Elder Scrolls games. Okay, the system requirements. On your video card, you need a minimum of 2 gigabytes of VRAM, preferably 4 gigabytes of VRAM, and that's for Daggerfall Unity itself. For your regular RAM, you need an 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum, preferably 16 gigabytes of RAM. You need a minimum of 5.5 gigabytes of space on a hard drive. It's preferred that you use solid-state drive to install Daggerfall Unity on. And as far as your processor goes, for just Daggerfall Unity itself, you need at least an AMD FX 8300 processor. If you got a Ryzen processor, you're all set. Intel, you need an i5 4690 at least. Okay, we have the system requirements out of the way. The first thing we want to do is download two things. We want to download what's referred to as the Daggerfall game files, and also Daggerfall Unity. So I've got two monitors set up, so I'm bringing over all the tabs that we'll be visiting on the browser here. Now I'll have all the links to everything in the description below. Take your time, make sure you download each mod one at a time, as well as the Daggerfall game files and Daggerfall Unity. Now the first link you should be clicking to will be where it has the two links, one for the Daggerfall game files, and just open it up, and it's on a Google Drive. Just click download anyway, and then save it to wherever you want. Okay, now go ahead and click on the releases link. And then what we want to do is scroll down until we get to the assets. And what we want to do is we want to download the 64-bit version. Now, no one should be using 32-bit version of anything anymore, so you can ignore that. And the other two are for Linux and Mac. But we're going to be going with the Windows 64-bit, so click on that and save it to where you want. Alright, after you have downloaded those, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and unzip and start with the Daggerfall Unity, which will be DFU_Windows_64-bit version, yada yada. And just go ahead and extract here. And I use 7-zip, and I recommend you use 7-zip as well. If you don't have it, search for it on your favorite search engine and get that installed. 7-zip is your best friend concerning archive files. Okay, now the other thing is when you downloaded the Daggerfall game files, you want to go ahead and unzip those as well. So you right click, 7-zip, extract here, or just extract here. And you'll have these folders of the files. And so I put them inside a folder called Daggerfall game files to keep them separate from the actual files that when you unzip Daggerfall Unity itself. And then I got another folder for mods. So, okay, now what you want to go ahead and do is go ahead and right click on Daggerfall Unity and run as administrator. And then go through and go ahead and select the path to where those Daggerfall game files are at. So in my case, I'm going to E games and try to scroll down a little faster. And click once for the Daggerfall game files folder for me, where I got the Daggerfall game files unzipped into. Click OK, and then click OK again. Now the next thing you want to do is go ahead and set your resolution to where you want it at. In my case, I'm using a 1080p monitor, and I'm going to click full screen. Now you can set your resolution to whatever you want. You should be okay with that. But for the sake of the first time through, select your actual monitor resolution and go full screen. And quality, it's recommended beautiful, but I go with fantastic myself since I got a beefy graphics card. Now go ahead and click test. And now click OK. Alright, and then it takes you to the Daggerfall Unity main screen. And we'll call this the Game Start window. Okay, what you want to make sure you got check marked is vertical sync, mouse smoothing, click to attack, uncheck mark enable controller, and I check left-hand weapons myself. And if you want to do player nudity, that's just on your character screen. You see your player naked. If you take off all the armor and clothing on that, it does not make the characters in-game naked. So get that out of your mind. And so next thing we want to do is go ahead and click the okay, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and exit out of Daggerfall Unity. My apologies. Okay, now the next thing is, if you haven't installed the Vortex Mod Manager, which is you can get it off the Nexus site, go ahead and do so and install it. And once you got it installed, which I already have it installed, want to start up the Mod Manager. And then thing is, you want to click on Games. Now, the best way to search for Daggerfall Unity is just to start typing in, when you type in Dagger, you should get Daggerfall Unity, and go ahead and click Manage. Now you may get a confirmation thing which requires you to go onto the Nexus site, and you should already have an account. If not, go ahead and create an account. In fact, create your account before you download the Nexus Mod Manager. I don't think you can download the Mod Manager without creating an account. Creating an account is free, so you shouldn't have a problem in there. But then you got to go through kind of like an authentication procedure. But it's not too hard. Just go through the steps on it and you should be okay. Now once you've gone through that, authenticated, and allows you to to add Daggerfall Unity to your managed list, just go ahead and click it, or click activate, which it's I already done. You'll see an activate button in the middle if you have not activated it. So you click on activate, and then you click on the mods. Now, if you're new to the Nexus Mod Manager, the large window here is the mods that you have added into the Mod Manager, not necessarily installed them. Those are two different things there, and this main window will show you between the mods that you've added and the ones you have added and installed. Down here in this bottom part is where you're going to be dragging all your mod files to, where it will add it to the main window. Alright, now that we got that done away, go ahead and just minimize the Nexus Mod Manager. We'll be coming back to that. Okay, and go ahead and start Daggerfall Unity again. And one other thing is go ahead and right click, and you want to select Pin the Taskbar. And since I've already pinned it to taskbar, it's showing unpinned from taskbar for me. But you'll see pin the taskbar, and go ahead and do that so you can have it down here convenient at your taskbar. You can also create a shortcut if you'd like as well. Alright. Unclick Enable Controller. Now the next thing we want to do is go into the Advanced and click on the Advanced button. So we go to the Advanced menu, and we're going to start in the Gameplay tab. Now this part is optional, but if you want to start from the very beginning, make sure Start in Dungeon is selected. It'll have the little green square inside the green box. And then set Dungeon Textures to Climate. Now set it to climate, not climate only. Make sure you set it to where it says just climate. Okay, on the camera recoil strength, set it to 100%. And then next we want to check mark movement acceleration, bows draw and release, toggle sneak. Now this is optional here. If you like to hold down to sneak, leave that unchecked, but if you'd rather have the sneak to be toggled, then go ahead and check mark that. And make sure spell lighting and spell shadows are check marked. Do not check mark alternative music. The music that comes with Daggerfall Unity, vanilla so to speak, and possibly any mods will be better than the alternative music, but you can try it out for yourself if you'd like. Your taste may differ from mine, so no problem there. Alright, now next we'll go ahead and click on the Interface tab and make sure Tooltips is check marked. You want to set your delay to 0.3. Your text color, you can do whatever you want on the text color. You can enter in a hex code and change your text color however you want it. And you can even click around, click the bar, set it to your preference, and you'll be good. Same thing with the background color, set it to your preference. Now the next thing we want to do is uncheck vitals indicators. Now this is optional here, but if you want an immersive experience, uncheck vital indicators. Now interaction mode icon, and want to set that to none. Again, this is personal preference on there, so set it to your own taste. Feel free to play around with it. Okay, now what we want to make sure it's check marked, countdown quest journal clocks, and this will make it to where the time you see is the time remaining of a timed quest. Inventory info panel, make sure that's check marked. Enhanced item list. You want to make sure uncheck the talk window modern style, and you want to set the buff icons layout to small, but again this part here is optional. Set it to taste. And helm and shield material display, set to on. Okay, and then geographic backgrounds, we want to leave that off. Checkmark Dungeon Wagon access prompt, and uncheck outline map locations. Now, I think on the geographic backgrounds and outline regional map locations, I think these selections here may interfere with one or more of the mods that we'll be installing. So for now, just leave those unchecked. You do have the option to add those if you prefer at a later point. Okay, let's go into the Enhancements tab. And what we want to do on all the checkmark boxes is we want to checkmark everything except compressed mod textures and also alt random enemy select. So we're going to uncheckmark compressed mod textures. And then find, okay, where's the random alternative random enemy selection? There we go. But for everything else, go ahead and check mark. And it should look like this. Now you want to set the dungeon ambient light to 0.9. The night ambient light set to 0.6. And loiter time to 12 hours. Alright, that's all in the Enhancements tab. Go ahead and click on the Video tab. Now in your resolution, set it to the same resolution as we did in the game screen, start screen. And then if you put it into full screen, go ahead and check mark full screen here as well. Running background is optional. If you uncheck this and say you alt tab out, or you have a multi-monitor set up and you click on one of your other monitors, the game will pause in the background. And next we want to set the quality level, and it's recommended to do beautiful, but I've got a beefy video card so I can set it to fantastic. And then set the main filter, the GUI filter, and the video filter all to trilinear. So the main GUI and video filter, set them all to trilinear. Field of view is to your taste, and I'm setting mine to 100. Now if you're familiar with field of view, just set it to taste for yourself. Field of view, basically, if you've been playing console games, you're used to a field of view of about 60 to 65. But if you're doing PC gaming, you got to set it to at least 90, or you may be subject to motions, or what's called simulation sickness. It's a type of motion sickness. So I would say set the field of view to at least 90. All right, on terrain distance, the minimum requirement for that is 2. But the other requirement is 4. Probably depends on how beefy your computer is. So either set it to 2 if you think your computer is more towards the lower end, or set it to 4 if you got a beefy rig. Optional in the shadow resolution, I've got a beefy rig, so I set it to very high. Set that to whatever you feel comfortable with. And make sure you check mark dungeon light shadows, interior light shadows, and exterior light shadows, and uncheck mark ambient lit textures. Okay, and that's pretty much it for there on the options there. So click the close button. Now the next thing we want to do is click play. Okay, and what we're going to do is skip through here, and what we want to do is we're going to do a quick character setup, because there's an in-game options menu that we got to get into. So just pick something that's available, and we're just going to do that. Double click on that. Yes. Fast start. Okay, name myself Dummy, super dummy. Or you can just click random and there you go. Don't worry about the face. This is just a quick character generation. Just go ahead and just divvy up the points into one thing and get all these taken care of. Now when you get ready to start the game for real, then you can go through this process and take your time in the setup of your character. And we're going to escape out all this dialogue here. We will come back to that and I will play through a little bit of the game as well. And we'll go ahead and say yes to the tutorial. Okay, now it's kind of dark here at the moment. I'm going to see if I can find a torch at the start, but we got to go through and do a more of a... Okay, I guess we can't find one, so... Alright, we'll just go ahead and take care of the option then. Okay, when in game, there we go. Hit the escape button so we get the menu here. And you'll see this arrow right here on the upper left of your screen. Go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to select Effects Settings. Now click on the Anti-Aliasing section and set Method to Off or None. Then click on the Ambient Occlusion section and we're going to check mark Enable. Then come down and set Intensity to 0.5. Set the radius to 0.8 and set the quality to ultra, but you can adjust this to taste depending on what your rig is, as far as how beefy it is. Alright, now after you've done that, go ahead and hit the escape key and then we're going to exit the game. Okay, now the next thing we got to do is we got to do some INI file tweaks. Okay, we're going to be opening up the INI files with either Notepad, or in my case I have Notepad++. That's a free text editor that you can download, and it is a bit superior to Notepad itself. I recommend you download Notepad++. That's the 2 plus symbols at the end of Notepad. And go ahead and download and install it. You won't be sorry. Okay, what we want to do is we want to go into the INI tweaks. So we're going to go into User. In my case, I am Practice Dummy. And then we're going to go into App Data, Local Low, Daggerfall Workshop, Daggerfall Unity, and then we're going to open up the settings.ini file. Now what you may have to do is you may have to right click, select properties, and select what it opens with. In my case I changed it to Notepad. In case it doesn't have a program listed here, you got to click change and you'll open up, you know, a list of what you can open it up with. You'll have Notepad or WordPad. In my case I do have Notepad++. But after you set that and click apply and set the change, then you can go ahead and double click on settings.ini. Alright, now the easiest way to do this is hold down the control button and hit the F key and it'll bring up the find window. Alright, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and backspace out this, and we want to type in exterior shadow distance, all one word, and just hit the enter key, or you can click find next, and it should highlight where you see exterior shadow distance at, and you can see the value here is 90 and we want to change that to 150. Now after you've done that, Come back in the Find window, highlight and delete out what's in the text box here. And we're going to enter in mobile NPC shadows. And go ahead and find next. And here it is highlighted, mobile NPC shadows. And we want to change that value to true. True with a capital T. Now the next thing below that, you have general billboard shadows, and we want to change that to true. Capital T, then RU, and E is already there. And then nature billboard shadows. Change that from false to true. Now go back into the Find window and into the text box, and we're going to look up, go ahead and type in terrain height map pixel error. Terrain height map pixel error in there, and go ahead and click Find Next. And it should have this highlighted under the experimental section here. And we want to change the value from 5 to 1. Alright, go ahead and save that file. And then go ahead and exit out of there. And that takes care of that, the INI tweak. Now the next thing we got to do, and up front, if you got an AMD card, do your best to do the equivalent here. I have an Nvidia graphics card, so we'll be using the Nvidia control panel. So go ahead and open up the Nvidia control panel. If you have just your desktop, just right click on the blank spot, and now let me show you, and you can bring up the Nvidia control panel that way. Now once you got the Nvidia control panel opened up, we want to go into, first we're going to go to Manage 3D Settings, and it'll bring up this window here, and then we want to click on the Program Settings tab. And then we want to click on the Add button. And you should see Daggerfall Unity.exe in your list somewhere. Since we got it right there, you click on it once, click Add Select Program, and now we're going to change a few settings. Okay, the first one is going to be changed is the anisotropic filtering. So we want to click on that. Now you can set it to whatever you want. If you got a good enough computer, set it to 16 times. And then it'll scroll down. And now we're going to come to the next part. Texture filter negative LOD BIOS. We want to make sure that's set to clamp. Then the texture filtering quality, we want to set that to high quality. Again, this is probably rig dependent for you. Texture filtering, trilinear optimization, we want to set that to off. And then for triple buffering, we want to set that to on. Then go ahead and click Apply. And then go ahead and exit out of the Nvidia control panel. Alright, now here's the big to-do here. You should already have all these mods downloaded, but if not, I'll go through each of the mods. There's two you need to download right off the bat and install. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to download and install two particular mods, as it were. First one is going to be called Dream, and the second one is going to be called Actions Framework. So go ahead and click, if you haven't downloaded all the mods, go ahead and go to the Dream link first. Almost all these mods will be going through the Nexus site. And then we want to download the Dream, and since I'm using Windows, I'll be downloading the Windows version. Now, a lot of these mods have 3 versions of the mod. If you got Windows, make sure it's the Windows mod you download and not the Linux mod. And for some godforsaken reason, there's a Mac version of it. Please, Nexus or whoever done the mods, get rid of the Mac version. Pretty please. This is personal preference only. No offense to our Mac users. But go ahead and do the manual download. And then, unless you got a premium account, you go ahead and click on slow download. And then go ahead and save that. Now, I won't worry about the click and download thing. All the Nexus mods will download about the same way, except for some that will have a requirement for an additional mod, and there will be a window that'll pop up for that. So just a heads up there. Okay, now that you've downloaded Dream, you want to click on the Actions Framework link. It'll take you to this page, and this is only one file for that, so click Manual Download and go ahead and save that. Alright, after you've downloaded and saved, you do not have to unzip the files. The Mod Manager will handle all that. All you have to do is download them. There's a rare case that's on mods that you have to actually unzip and actually add them to a folder. But in this case, all these can remain zipped and you can add them to the Mod Manager. Alright, bring back up your Vortex Mod Manager and go to wherever you downloaded your mods at. Now, I put a couple of mods into some folders to help, because there's like multiple files that I downloaded that pertain to a particular mod. Okay, the first one we want to go ahead and drag and install will be the Dream. And so here it is right here, and I'll go ahead and drag it into there. Now, most of the mods won't take long to install. Some of them might take a little bit too, but that's a-okay. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and click and install. And there we go. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but we got things motivating here. Mod Manager's finally doing its thing. Now, up here on the bell icon, you got a progress meter for some mods. If you got like a huge graphics mod, you want to pay attention to this, and I'll give you an indicator how long it's taking to install a mod. And then click Enable, and there you go. And go ahead and click Elevate as well. Again, that user confirmation dialog, that's just a one-time deal. You won't have to do that again. Okay, you won't get that window since I already had that mod installed apparently. I had uninstalled Daggerfall Unity and all the mods previously, but apparently Dream leaves a residual file somewhere that I could not find apparently. But you shouldn't see that issue there. Okay, now the other one you got to install will be the Actions Framework. Go ahead and click Install, click Enable, and click Elevate if it asks you to do that. Alright, now next thing you got to do is you want to download all the rest of the mods. And I'll go through the names of them, and you know to click on the Files tab for each mod to download. There's one or two that have their own website where you got to download from, so I'll point to you which file to download from. Okay, the next mod will be Improved Interior Lighting. Go ahead and click the Files tab and go ahead and manually download it. Then the next one is called Better Ambience. Then Loading Screen. Now the next one's called Enhanced Sky, and it's on its own page here. And what you want to do is you want to download the newest version, which as this video, it's version 3.0.2. And then over here in upper right, click the download button. And then save it to where you would like to save it at, preferably with the rest of the mods. Alright, after that one, then you got interesting eroded terrain, distant terrain, basic roads, real grass, taverns redone. Now on Taverns Redone, you do have an additional patch for the Dream mod, so you want to make sure you download that as well. Hand-painted model replacements. Again, just pay attention, make sure if you're using Windows, download the Windows version of it. Okay, let's see. Oh, one other thing on the real grass, there's an additional mod you want to file you want to download, and that's the Vibrant Wind for Windows. If you're using Windows, make sure you download that. I forgot about that. My apologies. Okay, hand-painted model replacements. Then Windmills of Daggerfall. Then detailed city walls, birds in Daggerfall, fixed dungeon exteriors, lively cities, unofficial block location and model fixes, and of course make sure you get the Windows version. Readied spellcasting hands. What that one does is it shows your hands glowing with a certain aura depending on what spell you got equipped. Roleplay and realism. Roleplay and realism items. Daggerfall sky shards. Airships. Torch taker, archaeologist, Daggerfall Unity Quest Pack 1. Now, the Daggerfall Unity Quest Pack 1 will have it to where it'll ask you for the actions, or tell you also need the actions framework mod, and you've already installed that if you've been following my video guide. So go ahead and just, when you click on manual download, and just go ahead and click download. Now if you hadn't done the actions framework, downloaded it and installed it, you got to click the link here. But other than that, you just click download and it'll take you to the page there so you can download Daggerfall Unity Quest Pack 1 and then Daggerfall Unity Quest Pack 2. Now, the Daggerfall Unity Quest Packs are optional. It's up to you if you want to install them or not. I personally have no problem with it. You know, if it enriches my experience, I'm going for it. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to install all those mods at once. And so I've got a few that I've got in folders. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight Daggerfall Unity Quest Packs for starters. I'll highlight both and drag them both. And ignore this. We're not going to install them all yet. Yeah, ignore the pop-up here because we're going to install them all at once. There will be no problems, you know, with the whole installation of this. Okay, and I put in a couple here, the Real Grass and the Vibrant Wind patch. Again, ignore this here. Taverns Redone, and that comes with the Dream patch as well. And again, ignore that. And then I'm going to highlight the rest with the exception of Dream, which we already installed. And we're going to drag all of these over to the drop files window here. And again, ignore all this. Let the mods be fully added. And once we've done all that, what we want to do is click on an area, say like right here is good. Hold down Control and press A. And it's going to highlight all. Now hold down Control again, and the two mods we already installed, Dream and Actions Framework. We're going to hold down Control and we're going to click on Dream to unselect it, and hold down Control and click Actions Framework to unselect that, to make sure those are unselected, but everything else is selected. And come down here and click on the Install button. And it's going to install all the mods that we got highlighted. Now let it go through and do its whole thing and wait to make sure that they're all there. And they should be enabling. Okay. Apparently I've reached a little technical difficulties yet again. No, we didn't. We just got to go ahead and click Enable. Okay, do the same thing as before and go ahead and click the Elevate button if it asks you to elevate. But go ahead and highlight everything except for the two mods and then click Enable. My apologies, I forgot that little tidbit right there. But there you go. You have everything enabled and you're all set. Okay, now you can exit out of the Nexus Mod Manager. The mods are installed. Go ahead and close your mod window if you'd like. I'll go ahead and remove that there. Say hello to OBS Broadcaster. Close out of the INI files there. And since we got, if you had, you created a taskbar shortcut to Daggerfall Unity. And we just got to do one last deal here. Click on the mods button after you get the start page. And they should already be all on, but click on the button just in case, but it shouldn't be necessary. It should all be all on. And make sure enabled is checked, and it should be by default. And click Save and Close, and then you got a pop-up that comes up. You want to click Yes, and it'll sort the mods automatically. Alright, and that's all there is to it. You can click play and create your character. And so I will do that at a later point in time for myself, but I wanted to share on how to install and add mods for Daggerfall Unity to give you a great experience. Now, the one thing I want to warn you about, and this is a good-natured warning on this, Daggerfall will occupy a lot of your time. It is that encompassing. There is a lot to the game. And if you did all the quest of that Daggerfall has to offer, you could possibly spend a year playing the game. It's that expansive. And before Minecraft came out, Daggerfall had the largest in-game world of any video game to that point in time. Alright, that should do it. I hope this helps you one and all. And again, set the settings and install mods to taste. It all depends on your rig. And I'll go over once more about the system requirements, and this is just for Daggerfall Unity itself. This does not include the requirements that might be elevated as a result of installing these mods and the settings that you set in the options. Okay, for Daggerfall Unity on your video card, you need a minimum of 2 gigabytes of VRAM. Maximum you need for Daggerfall Unity itself is 4 gigabytes of VRAM. As far as actual motherboard RAM, you need a minimum of 8 gigabytes of RAM, The maximum you need is 16 gigabytes of RAM. And for your hard drive space, for Daggerfall Unity itself, it's 5.5 gigabytes. I think you would need probably about 15 gigabytes, including the mods. I'm guessing here a bit, but save 15 gigabytes minimum of space for installing Daggerfall Unity and the mods. Your processor needs to be, if you got an AMD Ryzen, you're all set. Intel, anything higher than the i5 4690 will work. On the AMD, officially listed at least the AMD FX 8300. But that's pretty much it for the specs there, installing the game and the mods. And I hope you get a whole lot of enjoyment out of playing Daggerfall Unity. It's well worth, having as part of your game collection if it's not already. Take care, one and all, and God bless you.